Hey guys, how's it going? Um, I know I haven't done a review in a while, and I apologize for that. But, well, I hope it was worth the wait, because here it is. So, I'm now going to talk about the most recent movie I've seen, which has been The Wolverine. Yes, I finally got a chance to see The Wolverine. Now, before I talk about the movie and everything like that, I want to tell you guys my background slash history with the X-Men franchise in general. Now, as I've said before, I've never read any of the comics. I only read Doctor Who comic books because I like those and I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. So there you go. But anywho, my introduction to the X-Men actually began with the animated series that was on in the 90s, and that was my introduction to the Merry Mutants. And when I watched the show, I fell in love with it because, again, it was my introduction to the X-Men and other superhero shows, and it's kind of interesting that all the superheroes that we all know and love today, I got introduced to through the animated shows, like X-Men, Superman, Batman, and so on and so forth. So then when I found out that they were going to make a live action X-Men movie, I was really excited, and when I heard about who they were going to cast as the different characters, I was like, I'm not too sure, Halle Berry as Storm, maybe Anna Paquin as Logan. And then I heard some big names were coming to the movie. Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier. Now, when I found that out, I was like, oh, that's so cool, because, that was back when he was still doing the Next Generation movies, and I was really excited to see him play the mentor of the X-Men. I was like, that's gonna be awesome. But in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, that's cool, but who are they going to get to play Magneto? And then I found out it was Sir Ian McKellen, who then went on to play Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings movies. And I was like, perfect. But the one thing that was on my mind is, who are they going to get to play Wolverine? And sure enough, they got the best actor they could possibly get to play Wolverine. And that, of course, is Hugh Jackman. Now, of course, and when I saw the first X-Men movie, and after I was done watching it, I was like, dude, that was spot on perfect. The casting choices were good, the action sequences were awesome, and the story overall was brilliant. So there you go. Then came the second movie, X2, X-Men United. And when I found out that they were going to be introducing Nightcrawler, I was like, that's interesting, because I was introduced to the character through the X-Men Evolution animated TV show. And I do have to agree with the Blockbuster Buster that I think X-Men Evolution actually felt more like a de-evolution, if you ask me. But then when I found out that they got Alan Cumming to play Nightcrawler, I was stoked. I was like, dude, that's awesome. And at the time, I still couldn't believe that was actually him, because I think that movie may have come out either before or after the first Spy Kids movie. So when I found out that they actually got the same actor that played Floop in the Spy Kids movies to play Nightcrawler, I was kind of on the fence about that. But after I saw the movie, I was completely convinced that he was Nightcrawler. I was convinced that Alan Cumming was Nightcrawler. That was awesome. And then came X-Men 3, The Last Stand. Now, I personally think that movie was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was just good. But the one thing I do have to credit the filmmakers on, or at least the writers, was that the introduction of the mutant cure was brilliant. Now, here's why. Because this whole cure thing, it's kind of dividing the whole mutant population, I guess you could say. I mean, you got one half that wants to take the cure because, they feel that if they get their special mutant powers taken away from them, then they'll be accepted into human society and they won't be outcasts anymore. But on the other hand, you've got the mutants who don't want to take the cure because they believe that if that special part of them is taken away, then what good is, then what's the point? I mean, they see their powers as something special, something that if taken away from them, then they'll lose that special part of themselves, one thing that makes them unique and individuals. And in my mind, it almost resembled what it feels like to be assimilated by the Borg, if you could say. But yeah, there are so many mutants out there who do want to take the cure, like Rogue, for example. I mean, she can't actually physically touch anyone for fear of killing them. So if she takes the cure, then she'll be okay. And of course, there's a lot of controversy caused by that cure. And again, great idea. And I also think that having Jean come back as Phoenix, because Jean Grey died in the second movie, and then she came back as Phoenix in the third movie, I think that having her struggle with her powers was another nice move, and I really enjoyed that. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and that's what happened with Jean. Wolverine killed her for a good reason, because her powers were just out of control and she was killing innocent people and mutants as well. So Logan had no choice but to kill the woman he loved. Now, of course, that probably would have been better if they had actually fleshed out the whole Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Wolverine love triangle, but they didn't. And I can't fault the filmmakers for doing that. Because, well, James Marsden then went off to do Superman Returns, so he couldn't be in the movie for as long as we wanted. So, there you go. So, after that, we then got X-Men Origins Wolverine. It was just okay. I have neither love nor hate for that movie. It was just okay. I mean, they got Ryan Reynolds in there, okay. Will.i.am for the Black Eyed Peas, okay. It was just okay. And then, a few years later, we got X-Men First Class. And let me tell you guys, hold on a minute. There we go, okay. But still, in my opinion, X-Men First Class was awesome! For several reasons. First of all, the casting choices were outstanding. James McAvoy as young Professor Xavier, awesome. Michael Fassbender as the young Magneto, perfect. I mean, seriously, that guy's been in some of my favorite movies that I've seen recently. Of course, the only I can think of right on top of my head is, of course, Prometheus, but hey, that dude was awesome. And also Jennifer Lawrence as the young Mystique, awesome to the max. I mean, seriously. This is the same person who was Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games movies and won an Oscar for performance in Silver Linings Playbook. That is awesome. And, yeah, but other than that, I really loved X-Men First Class. I thought it was brilliant. The casting choices were awesome. The story overall was fantastic. And I am so pumped for the upcoming Days of Future Past. So, just to clear the air, I am looking forward to X-Men Days of Future Past. Why? because they're bringing back all the previous characters from the first 3 movies and having them interact with the characters from X-Men First Class. Hell yeah. But, well, we still gotta wait for that movie, but thankfully, they were able to churn out another Wolverine movie. And you know what? It was awesome! So, the plot. Well, basically, this movie takes place after the events of the 3rd X-Men movie, and Logan is pretty much just wandering around. He's not really doing all that much, he's just wandering around. And his hair's grown out, and he has these hallucinogenic flashbacks sometimes, or I wouldn't say, well, flashbacks, but more like dreams, I guess you could say, of him being with Jean Grey. And throughout the movie, I understood why they did that. It was because, to me, I think it was because Logan was still upset with what he had to do to Jean in the 3rd X-Men movie. So, having those moments, I thought, was brilliant. And Logan saying, I'm not going to kill anyone anymore, that's not who I am, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what, Logan? You're going to have to do that You're going to have to do that in this movie sooner or later. And he does. So there you go. So anywho, he then goes into a bar and finds out that these guys killed a bear using some kind of illegal poison thing, and he gets really mad. And then we get introduced to this Japanese girl, and I can't remember the character's name or the actress's name, so I'm sorry about that. If any of you guys out there have seen the movie and you know who I'm talking about, let me know in the comments below. So anywho, the girl tells Logan that that a guy that Logan saved during World War II, and specifically the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and we see that in the beginning of the movie that he saved this guy from the nuclear bomb and stuff like that, and they hid in this underground tunnel thing until everything was okay again and they got out. So apparently that guy that Logan saved in the beginning, he's dying, and he wants Logan to come to him so that way, they could say goodbye and stuff like that. So then they go there, and we get introduced to another main character of the movie named Noriko, who is the old guy's granddaughter, and apparently will inherit his company. And of course, when Noriko sees Logan, she's like, oh, he looks like a caveman or something like that, and he smells, so he needs to be cleaned and stuff like that. Which leads to what is, in my opinion, the funniest scene in the entire movie. And that's the scene where Logan gets bathed by, I don't know how many women and stuff like that. And he's all naked, and they're bathing him by hand, and they're using, brushes and stuff like that. That scene was hilarious. It was just awesome. So anyway, after he's all cleaned up, and his hair is cut and stuff like that, Logan and the old guy talk and stuff like that, and the old guy says to him, immortality be a curse, I can make you immortal and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. And Logan's like, sorry, no. And to me, it almost reminded me of the whole mutant cure debate in the 3rd movie. Because if Logan took the cure, then his healing factor would be gone. He would still have the adamantium in his body, but his healing factor would be taken away from him. Because that is his mutant power. It's not the claws, it's his healing factor. That's one thing that keeps Logan from dying and makes him immortal. So Logan says, no, sorry, that's not why I came here. I came to pay my respects and stuff like that. And then we get introduced to, I guess we could call the villain of the movie, although she's not really actually the villain. Her name is Lady Viper or something like that. And she inserts these little bot things into Logan which take away his healing factor. So, yeah. Logan's got no healing factor for the majority of the movie. That ain't good. At all. So, afterwards, Logan and Noriko, they run away from these people who are trying to kill her and kill Logan and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. And of course, they have to keep running and stuff like that until eventually Noriko gets captured. And Logan and the other girl, they decide that, Logan decides that he needs to get the little bot things out of him so that he can get his healing factor back. But the other girl's like, no, you can't do that. I saw you die and stuff like that. And apparently she has the ability to see when people are going to die. That's actually very interesting and might come in handy eventually, but, well, But Logan's actually able to get the bot things out and he gets his healing factor back. So he's back to normal and stuff like that, and eventually throughout the movie, those hallucinogenic dreams that he has of being with Jean, they eventually go away too, so that's good. And then Logan goes to save Noriko, and then there's this big samurai robot thing called the Silver Samurai. And apparently it has the ability to take away Logan's adamantium. Now, I'm not going to spoil who was piloting the Silver Samurai robot thing, because I don't want to spoil it. That's probably the big giveaway of the whole movie, really. I mean, yeah, sure, I might, when I said Logan's the effect, I got to take it away, but, it wasn't taken away from him for, the entire rest of the movie. I mean, he got it back, so anywho. But I'm not going to spoil who was in the Silver Samurai suit thing, for those who probably haven't seen the movie yet. So, basically, while Logan's adamantium was taken away from him, mainly from his claws, he starts, getting older and stuff like that, and then one of the other characters, kills the Silver Samurai guy and stuff like that, and of course, now Logan's back to bone claws now. Yep. He had them for a good amount of time in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and now he's got them again. Oh boy. That's not good. So anywho, but the Silver Samurai guy is killed, and Noriko is made the CEO of the old guy's company, and blah blah blah. And that's pretty much all that happened. So there you go. Now, what I think about the movie overall? Well, like I said, it was awesome. So the good things about the movie. The story was good. The characters were good. The location filming, I guess, I guess I must have filmed everything in Japan, but I don't know. But everything was good. The action sequences were awesome. There's this one action sequence that I really loved. It takes place on top of a bullet train. That was awesome. I really love that scene. What else? That's it. And I don't think there were any bad things about the movie at all. I mean, I wish I could have explained what happened to the other X-Men, but they didn't. So, we'll just have to wait and see. So there you go. Now, of course, I know this movie's not for everybody, so if you're a fan of the X-Men movies, if you're a Hugh Jackman fan, if you're a fan of Wolverine, then you'll probably like this movie. If not, then I wouldn't say stay away from it entirely, but you might want to check out the X-Men movies, including X-Men Origins Wolverine, and maybe the comics that focus on Wolverine, I know there are some comic books out there that feature Logan with the Silver Samurai and Logan going to Japan and stuff like that, so if you get a chance to read those comics, definitely do that. But other than that, I really enjoyed this movie. If I had to give this movie a rating out of 10, I would probably give it an 8, because it was that good, and I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I really loved it. there's a scene that takes place during the middle of the credits, like before all those like rolling credits until like who worked on everything in the movie and stuff like that. So there's a scene like there's a scene like right in the middle of the credits. Definitely stay for that scene. Do not look out of the theater when the credits start coming up. Watch the first part of the credits, then watch the scene, and then leave the theater. So there you go. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was really good. I give it an 8 out of 10 because it was just that good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My next video will be my thoughts on some other things that have happened in the news lately and stuff like that. So yeah, but I probably won't do that right after I'm done putting this video up on YouTube. I might get something I'll probably eat lunch first, then I'll do the other video. So until my next video, which will be later on today, live long and prosper. Peace out. Bye.